my mouse has got stuck. Right, there we go.
That's the way you start every episode at the minute. My mouse has got stuck.
It's because sitting on the sofa, although it's a leather sofa, I thought that, the mouse would be able to run smoothly on it. But I think because I've been banished to the sofa for so long now, there must be some sort of build-up. I've got a dirty mouse.
And on that note,
salutations, Ginger League, and welcome to Super Geeked, where we discuss the latest things on all things super, like us. I'm your host, Susan Sutton, and joining me this week, as always, I'm pointing with that finger because I've got a poorly finger. Andrew Durning and Kevin Tierney.
Is that because he's got the tea in the coffee mug? He's got teeny.
I know, he's such a heathen, isn't he? I mean, if you're going to have tea, have it in a china mug, like this. But anyway, gentle
I'll
dogs.
break out the good cups later.
How are you guys?
Right, Kev, I'll let you start. Oh, how was your daughter's birthday?
Oh, it was great. Apart from the tiredness of the entire weekend, because I got my COVID and flu jags on the Saturday morning that we were going to Pizza Hut. So my arm was in agony for like the past 3 days. It's actually just starting to be okay today. And I've been just really tired because of it. But apart from that, it was a really good weekend.
Fair enough. What about you, Susan? Did you have a good one since we last spoke?
Do you really want to hear about my weekend?
Of course we do.
I was taken to hospital in an ambulance at 3 o'clock on the Saturday afternoon with a suspected TIA. So there you go.
What is a TIA?
It's is it transchemic something or other? It's like a mini stroke.
So was it like the arrhythmia in that one?
I'm not sure. It's all long words, and I don't do long words.
All right. How are you feeling?
But
anyway?
yeah, my blood pressure was extremely high, but I'd had these symptoms. I was losing my vision. I couldn't walk for a little while. Got numbness and tingling down the side of my head and neck and face. And I was at the hospital for 6.5 hours. The ambulance was very quick. And I can't praise the NHS highly enough. They do a fantastic job, but we know that. But what they're thinking is, because I do suffer with migraines and ice pick headaches. When I get ice pick headaches, I do get hospitalized because they are bad. They think it's a new type to me, migraine, but the doctors have said that should I get the same symptoms again, I'm still to call 999 because they are the symptoms of a stroke or a TIA. So yeah, I had a wonderful weekend.
Yep, sounds great. Definitely.
Boo to
anyway,
migraines.
Sorry?
Boo to migraines indeed.
Yep.
Migraines suck.
I get them as well, and when I get one, it can last up to like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So it's not like the normal migraines that people get. Like they get it in the morning, they feel ill, they throw up. Then after that, 10 minutes like that, oh, I'm fine now. But yeah, lucky for some.
My brother once had what was called a trigeminal neuralgia when he was 12. And it's basically if you take a migraine, but times it by a factor of 50. He didn't sleep for about 2 weeks. At one point, he actually was banging his head off of his bedroom wall, trying to knock himself out.
That sounds like ice pick headaches, the ones that I get.
Yeah, he was. Well, this was like back when he was 12, so I was only like 9. But it's a weird sight watching your brother smacking his head off a wall.
Yeah.
And then I found out they did more of that when he started drinking at 14. So there we go. It's all good in the end. Anyway, let's
shall we move on?
Yep.
Right. Okay. Now, thanks, Kevin, for sourcing these questions. I thought I'd say it this week.
Hey, the other ginger.
Yes. So anyway, rumor has it that Amber Heard's screen time has been cut even more in Aquaman 2. Now, do you think that by the time it's released at Christmas next year, that people will have forgotten about Amber Heard and everything that came, out about her with, who?
Kev, you're more DC side than me. What do you think?
I'm thinking that the reason they pushed it so far away, because it was supposed to be out this Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It was essentially finished. Just a couple of editing touches, and then the whole court case happened to that. We'll push it back 3 months. And then it kept going and things were coming out like, we'll push it back another 3 months. So it was supposed to be summer next year. And then all the stuff happened with Flash. And then like, right, we'll push it back further. And then more stuff came out about Amber Heard after the court case. Like, push it back so it's Christmas next year. And I think they're just trying to hope people forget. But in this day and age, in the age of the internet, nobody forgets anything. Everything comes back out.
Yep.
So I think that they've been trying to do that. And I think the best thing to do would just be either recast and reshoot her scenes. They've got near enough a year to do it. Or just cut all her scenes. Because they've had enough bad press with Ezra Miller and The Flash. And when that film comes out in March, I think, when that film comes out, he's not going to be doing any press for the entire film.
Well,
so
I'm in the camp of that's probably what they're trying to do, but if they're trying to do that, I think maybe they're more trying to forget themselves if they're pushing that far. Like, hoping that they get like onset dementia or something, because there's no way you're going to forget what's happened with that.
No,
there was too much made of it. Like too many people got famous on TikTok as a result of it as well. So many people's fame was riding on it as well. They're like, you forget, my money goes away. So they'll be looking at that as well. And I just think, leave her. I think actually leave her in it, but people just don't go and see the film. Well, I just think it's just this. I think it just go right. This is it. This is the last time that you'll see her. Because they could play that in a marketing way, and some sad sacks would go see it because they'd be like, well, because there's people that still support Amber Heard. Like there's still people that support Johnny Depp. I think they're both fucking nuts.
Oh yeah.
So people will still go to see it to support anyway. The people that don't want to see it won't see it. So just it's Jason Momoa. I feel sorry for. Give him his due. Let him, because he's the one that's really suffering at all of this. Because he's the lead, and everything about it is just came crashing down around him. Like he's still got work and he's fine because he's a fucking Adonis, but still, just bring it out as is. Beat the whole Snyder Cut syndrome before it actually becomes a thing, because people will want to see it because people are nosy bastards. Yeah, they want to see all these things. They want to know the dirt and the goss and want to see what's going on with it and what would the original product have looked like and all that stuff. So I would just do it. No edits. Just leave everything as it was. Bring it out. And bring it out now, because no one's got any fucking money to go and see it anyway, because we're all skint. No. And it's Christmas, so no one's going to bother. Yeah, it's going to be worse next year as well. And it's Christmas. No one's got any money anyway. And just watch it burn.
Isn't Johnny Depp suing her for she'd been telling lies again about something else? I'm sure I saw something recently that he's suing her. So again, there's going to be another court case, and there's going to be even more dirt come out, and surely that's not going to do the film any good.
I personally think that the only way that these two are actually going to make any money is through the court cases, because they've caused so much drama on either side. Like people, even though Johnny Depp was, technically cleared, people still don't want to work with him. And there's people that refuse outright to do it. There's people that still want to work with him as well, just like there's people that still want to work with Amber Heard, and there's people that don't want to work with her. So either way, I think they're gonna make their money is basically suing each other for any money that they've got. It's just it's totally toxic. It's a toxic situation. It doesn't help any of them. I would just bring it out and let the chips fall, and then after that, we need to see either here or in any films again.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad press, we can move on to another person who is always in bad press.
Who's that?
It's a certain them is their pronoun.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you kind of did cover it actually. It's like Ezra Miller is said to be doing little to no promotion for the Flash movie coming next year. Now, do you think they should do any, or do you think that they should be left out of all promotion for the movie?
I personally think just again, let have them out there because I would want to see the reaction. The sadist in me wants to see it. We want to see the carnage that they are going to cause. Well, they always say bad publicity is still good publicity because it's still publicity. So I would, if we already think Warner Brothers and DC are a bunch of knob jockeys because of the way they've handled it already, so why not just double down on it? Like just go double knob jockey. Get it all done. And just go. Let's go full throttle, and then you can go right. That was the end of the old regime, where we were all crap and everybody sucked, and now we move on to the new regime, and they try and rebuild their rep.
I suppose they could go down that route, but the thing is, Ezra Miller may be in prison at the point of release.
That's true. They might take it out of their hands.
Yeah, their court case is pending. The trial date's been set for January. So they could be doing some hard time because everything has just piled up and piled up and piled up, and it's not just one thing. There's like 12 different cases that they're doing in the one court because we're not spreading this out. You need to do this one court case for everything that you've done in the past like 3, 4, 6 years or whatever it is that they did all their insanities because claiming you're God, that's just not good.
Yeah. That actually brings up an interesting question. Like, because Ezra Miller identifies as non-binary, would they go to a male or a female correctional facility?
They have
at the moment.
I think he's in the male holding prison just now because they don't have any separate they-them prisons.
Because I've heard of like prisoners like going through like transition to go to a female correctional facility because they know they'll get better treatment, and B, they'll be seen as like the top dog.
Yeah.
And then afterwards they're just like, yeah, I'm not really. So just it'll be interesting to see where they wind up. And I hope it's a male prison because I want them to absolutely fuck them over.
Well, in more than one way, I can imagine. Oops.
Yeah. Imagine being the prisoner that said they shagged someone that was allegedly God.
Well, let's move on. So after the release of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, a lot of toxic people have started saying about it being the MCU. Do you feel that there is too much toxicity from fans and trolls in franchises?
This is actually one that I want Susan to give her opinion on first. Well, everybody knows my opinions on trolling. Well, if you've not seen the videos, watch them because it's quite funny. I have a bit of backbone in that one. It's pretty cool. So they know my stance on trolling. They know Kevin and I's stance on how this seems to be going and how we're not okay with it. But we don't hear from someone who is, female identifying. So Susan, what do you think?
I think at the end of the day, I mean, if I'm at the age where I do struggle with these new identifying genres and what have you, the theys and one sex identifying as the opposite sex and things like that. And I can learn in time. I do believe that people should be accepted for who or what they are, so long as it's not something criminal or something like with the P word and things like that. The toxicity surrounding it is vile. I hate toxicity within the industry, within any industry, and the trolling. The way I see it, the people that troll would not dare say it to a person's face if you haven't got the balls or a vagina. If you haven't got that sex organ to actually say something to somebody's face that, you know, that you're happy typing away on the screen. We can all say vile stuff on the screen, but we can equally say beautiful stuff on the screen as well. And, you know, you just have a minority that choose to go down the toxic route. What they get out of it is beyond me. I really don't understand it. But yeah, you know, leave people alone. If you have somebody that is, I'm going to say it is that is male but wants to identify as female, okay, let them do that. If it makes them more of a person, if it makes them feel whole, absolutely allow them to do that. However, if I, for example, were to slip up and although they're identifying as female and I were to refer to them as he, please don't jump down my throat. Because, you know, it's difficult. If I have a man standing in front of me with a full beard wearing a suit, but they identify as female, but I don't know that, don't have a go at me for assuming that you're male kind of thing. I know people will probably be saying that's really, really wrong of me, but if I have a ball in front of me, I will say that it is a ball, a spherical object, but it might identify as a square. How am I supposed to know that? But yeah, the toxicity is just, it's horrible. I don't know if that's what you wanted me to say, but you know, that's just my thoughts.
And this is the last episode that Susan's on the show because we've been cancelled.
I'm sorry.
No, like, everybody's got an opinion. Well, and that's the whole point. It shouldn't be judged for it. If you can actually say your opinion and somebody goes, you know, might not agree with it, but still respect it, and then you move on, all cool.
But what's your guys' thoughts? Andrew, what's your thoughts on it?
I think trolls can just fuck off and die.
Yeah,
I was being tactful.
Yeah, I've gave up on tact. In all honesty, after a lot of things that have happened, I'm just like, you know what? I'm sick of bullshit. I'm sick of pussyfooting around. I call it a spade. And there's no point. If you don't have, again, they don't have the guts to say to someone's face what they wouldn't say. Now, I freely admit that with my anxiety, sometimes I am not a fan of confrontation. I freely admit that. I would prefer to avoid it, but it doesn't mean that if someone has been a dick to me and I see them that I will not throw down, because I will just like right, two-word best way that I remember sorting things was when they said, right, you outside. That's when you knew who actually had cojones and who didn't. I got my ass kicked every time, but I still screwed up.
Well, that's just it. It's showing up. It's having moral courage, being willing to stand up and be counted, not hiding behind the screen.
Yeah,
you know,
people could troll me for saying, you know, why do you want all trolls to die? And I'm like, hey, I have nothing against trolls, as in like the actual troll. They stay under the bridges. They're very nice to the bridge. They stay there. I'm okay with that. Online trolls can just bolt. And slight diversion from it, and one thing I've seen it really come out is the Cristiano Ronaldo interview that happened with Piers Morgan. And before the interview came out, everybody was picked up the bits saying, you know, he was disrespecting the club and the manager, all this kind of stuff. And I waited until the full interview was out before I watched it. I did not see a problem with anything that he was saying. From being also a football fan, he's just saying what many fans feel. He showed no disrespect to the fans. He was just telling his truth The only controversial thing he said was that he liked Pierce Morgan. That point, I was like, okay.
Oh.
So at least he got, as far as I was there, and that was only 2 minutes in. It was like 2 hours of interview, and that was the only thing that I thought, yeah. So, and it's that kind of thing. Trolls just jump on everything without having the full scenario. They didn't watch the full interview.
Yeah.
I did, and I was like, I don't see anything wrong with it. On you go. Be free.
Yeah.
You've got the money. You've got the privilege we don't have. Cool. Kev, what do you think?
What about you, Kevin?
Well, it's just I've seen Black Panther, and it is a highly female cast. It is essentially female driven, and I think it's worked very well. The story is very well. The introduction of the new character who's going to come in is done very well, and obviously you've got Everett Ross, and you've got Val back, like what we need.
Yep.
So, and she's actually the bad guy in this film, not Namor.
Did you say bad guy?
Yeah, because she is a bad guy.
Yep. Kev calls a
She's
spade a
got
spade.
balls.
She does. She's got the biggest balls in the film.
That makes sense. And in fairness, it had to be kind of female led because, kind of spoiler alert, the lead male actor kind of died. So it was a bit of a shitter on that one.
Yeah.
And the lead antagonist from the last film, who was male, was killed in the film. So they couldn't get him back either. So it was a bit like it was like the kind of I know in Marvel films you can bring anybody back if the actor.
I was just going to say they
yeah.
can bring anybody back unless they actually die in real life.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I like about it is that they've so far just stuck to that he is still, he's gone. On you go.
Yeah.
So they'd kind of left him with no option but to make it more female orientated, and I thought personally it was a good idea. Well, they dealt with a very difficult subject about dealing with loss, because they essentially addressed that through the film of losing Chadwick Boseman. They do it very tactfully, very respectfully, considering that their hands were tied behind their back for it, and they got a good story out of it. So
yeah,
you know what the women have been bringing it in Phase 4, and I am perfectly okay with it.
Yep.
We get more hot women, the better.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Just one more thing. Angela Bassett was amazing.
Angela Bassett is absolutely amazing.
If she does not get an Oscar for that film, it's a travesty.
She won't, not because of her performance, but purely because it's Marvel. The only reason Black Panther got the Oscar nod was because it was a black cast, and a lot of people said that they were trying to essentially the reverse of whitewashing for the Oscars, because they were like, everything there is male and white. And they're like, oh look, black film, nominate.
I know.
So they'll probably be like, we don't want to do that because the last time that we gave a black person an Oscar, they slapped Chris Rock. Gets.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Now moving on. Chris Hemsworth has revealed that he's going to be taking a break from acting after receiving some rather distressing news. Now, this means that Thor 5 could be the last time we get to see him play the role. Do you think Thor's story can be concluded in one movie, or do you think for health reasons he should stop and work on his health?
Well, the thing I want to know is, what exactly is the news? Has it been revealed?
It's he's done the test. He's going to be doing the test for Alzheimer's.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah,
Jesus.
so he's taking some time. He is filming something just now, I think, but they've given him time off. I think they've given him like 3 weeks or 4 weeks to get the test done and chill a bit after finding out that he could have Alzheimer's. It's not, I don't think it's confirmed, but somebody in his family done the test and they've got the gene.
Right.
So he's like, all right. And he says that he has been forgetting things, like silly wee things here and there.
Yeah.
That he didn't used to. So he's like, right, well, I'm going to get tested. And if it happens, then one more Thor, and that'll be it.
Mm.
How
Well,
old is he?
39, same age as me.
Wow.
jeez.
Yep,
I
that's
mean,
very early.
I know. I mean, in fairness, like I used to work with a guy, like, and his wife, what was had Alzheimer's, got diagnosed with Alzheimer's in her late 40s. Like, yeah, and it wasn't pretty. So, yeah, if it is, thoughts go out with him. But he's not been diagnosed yet, which is good.
No,
Like, he doesn't what. There's no sign of it yet. The kind of forgetting things
at the time of recording.
At the time of recording, yep, everything's okay. But we've all been there with the forgetfulness, what forgetting things that you normally would remember. How many times have you came down the stairs, if you have stairs? Well, obviously, I'm not discriminating against bungalows. Well, and how many times have you came down the stairs and went, "What did I come down here for?" Well, so we've all done it. We've all had those type of things. What he's probably being overly cautious, rightfully so. What I think. Right now, if I was him, I would carry on as is until finding out. If it's not there, still take time to kind of recover from it, because it'll be a trauma going through the tests. Well, just the same as if he does find out, if he finds out and it is, take just even longer. I wouldn't even bother about a Thor 5, in all honesty. I wouldn't. Well, I'd be like, well, the actor's health comes first. Chadwick Boseman, prime example. Like, none of us knew what he was going through with his cancer, and he was just carrying on as is. And people were slating him online, saying that he was losing weight and that he was looking unhealthy. None of us knew what he was fighting in real life. A fight that eventually, sadly didn't win. So it wouldn't bother me in the slightest that health's more important. Like, you can always make another movie. You can't have a second go at your life unless you believe in reincarnation.
I mean, with any luck, it's just, well, say luck. It's going to be that perhaps he's been overworking, and it's stress that's getting to him, and he just needs the break. I absolutely wish him well, especially at 39. Wow.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and it's not been a very good week. What superhero and that type of genre wise as well as. Well, at the time of this recording, we just found out that Jason David Frank, who played the Green Ranger and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, committed suicide. 49.
Yeah.
Well, and that was a massive shock. I mean, you were like me, Kev. You watched Power Rangers in the 90s, didn't you?
Yep. I did.
Yes. Apparently, he'd just done a fan call, answering questions and what have you, and 15 minutes later he ended his life. And nobody had any clue whatsoever that he seemed to be quite okay while he was on the call.
It always says the ones that, if they don't talk about it, they're the ones you've got to watch out for. It's something I always kind of not wind Alison up about, but I say, look, if I'm talking about, like, I'm feeling like I could just jump off a bridge, and she's like, don't say that. And I'm like, oh, if I say it, then I'm more likely not to do it, because I've still got that cheeky, dark humor about me of going, I'm just going to go over to the Shawhead flyover. Can't see another life. But if I'm showing if I'm not talking about it, but showing signs, that's when the alarm bells should ring. And it's been the same sadly, with Jason David Frank. That's what they all said. Like, he was the guy who would reach out and offer support and offer advice, but no one reached out to him because they thought he was a strong one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you saw, I put up a video. It was Austin St. John, who played the Red Ranger originally. And they weren't really friends. They weren't close.
Yeah.
There was a lot of animosity on the set. And even when they done like later series together, they would be cordial, but they didn't really like each other.
Yeah.
And you see that video, and it's just raw emotion. He doesn't know how to feel. He's so gutted that this person that he's worked with for like near enough 30 years on and off, he's just gone. And he'll never get a chance to work with him again. He said that he's always liked working with him. He's always been professional. It's just personally, they didn't get on. They were two completely different people.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's one of the things he says is, it's not just a person we've lost, it's a father and a husband that's been lost. And I know that there was things that him and his wife were going through a divorce, but still, he's a father. And that's, I think, two children, I think it is, and now they don't have their father.
Yeah.
Well, it's the old thing, isn't it? Always be kind, because you don't know what anybody else is going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it was one of the things that ticked me off when they had that whole be kind thing after the Caroline Flack stuff, because they were doing all that, then COVID hit, then we're all fighting over what a toilet roll.
Yeah.
What, and like, oh, how dare you go outside your house for a whole 2 minutes, what, to get some fresh air? And I'm like, okay, what happened to that be kind stuff? It just kind of all went completely to shit.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I could die. Yeah, in that case, it just really, that kind of stuff really does annoy me. Like the people that usually preach about it the most are the ones that would instantly turn on you and go, nah, I don't like you. You're a bit mental.
Yeah.
And see if you're not, and take it from someone who knows. See if you're not mental, then there is something wrong with you, because everyone's fucking mental.
It's the ones that say that they're not. It's like, no, I'm not. It's like, then what the fuck is wrong with you?
It's like the ones
they're just in denial.
It's like the ones that genuinely used to tell me that mental health didn't exist. They were like,
yeah, but I mean, these will be the same ones that say COVID never existed and this, that, and the other. In the beginning, there'll be, all these conspiracy theorists and everything. And look how many of those conspiracy theorists actually died of COVID, and they were, filming themselves, putting out on live, this is basically my last breath, and it was. They died usually within a couple of hours of them making the film, and then they're saying I was wrong, mask up, get the vaccines and what have you. But hey ho.
That's what happens when you listen to Donald Trump.
But in fairness, he said to drink bleach. Not enough of them did.
No. He should have took his own advice.
I think there's a lot of people that should have took his own advice concerning what's happened now.
And he's wanting to run for president again. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's why I said to give him a second term, because then he couldn't come back.
True.
Donald Trump is going to be the cockroach of presidencies. I know I didn't say that just right, but you know what I mean. Like we could have squashed him. Like he could be almost done with his time by now. No, everybody was like, okay, get him out. No, give him it, and then he can never come back. Well, we tried. I tried to warn the people. They didn't listen.
Anyway, on that happy note, that's it for this show. Now, hopefully that's given all the viewers something to think and talk about. So until next time, he's Super, he's Ginger, and I've been your host, Susan Sutton. Take care.
Bye.